Some housekeeping. The bathrooms are here to the right, so in case you need them. And also, please, I ask that everybody turn off their phones so that we can have full attention to the presentation. Don't put them on silent. Turn them off, please. Thank you.
Just wait till she finishes. I'm doing it to you and get double.
Anthony's my assistant. Bob? 12 minutes on two. And then that one. Last
All right. We brought the room temperature down so we get a little cold. It's because we're all going to create the heat just by virtue of the fact that we're a human species. So if it gets a little cold, borrow somebody's sweater or something. Okay, welcome to the unveiling of the El Paso Posture Program. We have been working on this presentation for since December, and so, but before we begin that part, I want to just bring on that slide that we have been really working on back then. The postural program, when we started to create it up in the management level, we made sure that in one way or another, our vision was tied in there. We kept looking at how can we as therapists and as healthcare providers and staff members be the connecting leader to our patients in our community. So a lot of what is being said in our vision, we intertwined and made sure in some way we were always visualizing that part of our vision. And then as it unveiled and I started to ask staff members for some help and formed the postural program team, I just really felt like as we were intertwining with all of our values, I want to tell you how grateful I am to everyone in this room that you've been patient through this series of meetings. I know that we've spent a lot of dedicated time to get us to this level, and there's been a lot of action, some tough times, but we swallowed it and we just kept pushing forward. But at all times we were trying to be creative, dedicated to the whole process, and we hung in there until this day. So as we move forward, please know that we made an effort to make sure that our vision and our values were always present. In the back, if my voice goes down a little, just raise your hand and that'll be my cue that it's going down. That's the only thing that sometimes happens to me. Okay, so why was this program created? If you notice, I made this very, very small font. And so I wanted you to know that it was our dear consultant, Mr. Martin, whom we have repeated so many times, and his team told us to do it. And so the reason I made it real small is because after he told us, we were powerfully set forward to move this program. He just said, you know, after I talked to you before I arrived in El Paso, when I got to El Paso, I just realized you all don't really have a way to stand out completely other than longevity. And I really want the community to know who you are through another venue. There are some private practices in El Paso who are specifically known for a niche. And so we chose a program that wasn't going to require us physical therapists to go get certified, because that then takes a whole nother direction. And so we came up with the postural program, and one of the reasons I want you all to know the birth of it. We looked at our statistics in terms of our volume of patient, and we know that 42% of our patient volume across the entire organization is Medicare. So then we said, okay, that's almost 50%. The rest is then divided into pediatrics, workers' comp, and PPO. So besides balance, we said more so than balance, we also see a lot of postural deficits. But balance takes on another whole level because you have to open up almost 6 categories in order for you to say that you're an official balance program. So that's why we decided to skew over towards posture. Because then we said all the TMJ teenagers that are always like this, you know, we can get them to be aware of posture. Certainly all the PPO category who are on computers all day long, they can be aware of it. All the neck patients, we went down the kinetic chain and we said even people who have pelvic girdle problems, and of course by the time Amanda and I got together it was all the way down to the foot. So anyway, that's what really said we can set apart ourselves. So we created a niche that sets us apart from other practices. And we also wanted to let the medical community know that we are experts in treating patients in postural deficits. And we wanted the physicians to think EPPTS when they identify patients with postural deficits and conditions. And by the end of today, you are going to be like super good, even better than what we already are. All right. What was the driving force as we started to develop it? It was a consistently strong commitment to developing, educating our staff, and then marketing the program. We knew that there's no reason for Margot to go out there and market it if we did not have reason behind every step of the development. And we also knew that unless we educated our staff, just all the hard work she would do out there would almost come to a neutral effort. And so we spent a lot of time thinking of the development process. Today is part of the education process to everyone. And then, of course, we're going to introduce a lot of the marketing components. The creation of the marketing efforts were specifically specific to the program, to promote the program's image and ultimately the success in our community. We're hitting El Paso with this program. It's not just going to be, you know, the clinics. We intend to hit El Paso as we move forward with this program. Okay. Some of the efforts that we thought of, what has to happen inside before Margot can go outside? And we said we want our patients to be able to say yes to our product. Because if they don't say yes, and all of you have said yes to different things. I just said yes a week ago to some shoes on TV. I said, oh my goodness, Albert doesn't know yet. But I mean, they're very catchy. And so they'll be perfect when I go visit my mom next week. So anyway, we want them that when they see it, there's a connection to their yes. We wanted to inside provide staff with the resources and knowledge to sell this product in an amazing manner. And this is the first time I'm introducing the word amazing because that's what we want to attach. We want that to be amazing and an amazing experience for them. And so we turned it over to the marketing department and the El Paso Postural Program team for its inception. So the next one is going to be Margot. And she's going to talk a little bit about your your upright. And you're going to hear the word Slim Jim. Okay, so at
Is that
this...
me or you?
No,
The Slim Jim was you. Okay.
And then we're going to pause a little bit so that you can go ahead and pass out the handout. And so from here on, you'll have the same handout that's going up while Margot gets ready. Yeah. Let me just, if you can just wait till. No, just right. Just that.
Does everybody have one? Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Welcome to everybody. This is exciting. This is a nice venue to have this launch of our posture program, and we're all very excited about the program. There's been a lot of hard work, as Chola mentioned, and we want to introduce you to the marketing collateral pieces that we've developed and that are going to be given out not only at the clinics but also during the marketing visits. Okay? So, let me start here. So if you all will take a look at this, this is what we reference as a Slim Jim. Okay? And this is the development of what El Paso's posture program, how we're going to market it, and what we're going to be taking out. This is going to be taken out to the physician offices, and as well as in the clinics. I'll be buying you all each a plastic holder like you have the Open Gym cards in, and we're going to be giving you a quantity for each of your clinics as well. And this is something that everybody needs to talk about. The PTs, PTAs, front office staff, techs, everybody needs to be promoting this program. Okay, we want to make sure that the community knows we're very excited about it, and that El Paso Physical Therapy Services is going to be #1 in posture program. So we'll have a lot of people out there looking great and feeling better for sure. When we were doing all this research, it's amazing to me, just being a layperson, how much posture affects your health and well-being. From digestion, obviously your balance, your breathing, all of that. So that's just, it's for me, it was really enlightening. And I think we have so many people walking around El Paso that just, they need help. They really do. You see people just kind of slouching, especially teenagers. It's like just, you know, when you roll your shoulders back and you have a great posture, you do feel better. You look more confident. I think if somebody's gonna, you know, the people that prey on innocent people, you know, they're gonna go after people that are just kind of walking like, you know, a slouching. It's true, and they tell you that, you know, to avoid being attacked or mugged, you know, have good posture and feel confident that you know what you're doing, where you're going, and you're aware of your surroundings. But anyway, so this is the unveiling of the Slim Jim. So we hope you all like it and promote it. Okay? Do y'all have any questions on it? No? Okay, so on the prescription pads, just so you all know, these are being updated. I had ordered some already for my marketing, so it was pre-updating. But on these that I've already had ordered, we're just going to put a label down here with both the posture program and dry needling, so we don't waste these because they're expensive to get printed. However, we have put in a new order for, I think, a quantity of 200, and we are going to put under the services and program, the posture program will be the first one, and then under the procedures, the first one will be dry needling going forward, just so you all know. Okay. And we just got in, hot off the press, the posture program stickers. So these stickers are really to be used on everything. We want to make sure this is promoted. Just like I put my business cards and everything, these stickers need to be on everything. So when you have a birthday card for a patient, just, you know, I know you have the happy birthday stickers that I just gave you all, but you can put it on the back of the envelope, seal the envelope, put them on, what else do you, in the folders that you all are going to have. Any other suggestions? Discharge?
You wanted the discharge, and you wanted on any progress report that goes out to the doctor.
Yeah. Any information that goes out to the physician as well. And then I'll be putting them on my thank you notes to the physicians, and that's the PTAs, you can put that on physician notes, cards that go out, and their birthday cards. So this is gonna be everywhere. So we just keep subliminal messages out there. We have the posture program. So it'll become recognized. It's gonna be another brand that we have. Okay? So these are great, and you all will get, each clinic OC will be getting these today as well. Okay, so then you all should also have, do they have that yet?
The
illustration?
OCs are going to get a copy.
Okay.
They're going to see it also on the future slide.
Okay, so you're going to see an illustration of that's going to be going in. It's the information that's going to be given to the patients, and it's going to be an educational insert, and it's illustrations of the body reference. Can I just show them real quick? So this is what the patient's going to be receiving this as well. Okay, so it's going to be given to you all there. And you were talking about the buzzwords, Chola. So just reiterating, the posture program, all of this collateral pieces, and then with you all talking to patients about that, that's just going to be, again, reinforcing El Paso's posture program. Okay, and you'll be seeing this shortly. You're going to also the patients will be getting a folder, and it will have the primary exercise program that you all are going to be giving them. Okay? And last piece on this, we have ordered we call it the cinch bag, but it has our logo on it, and they were able to fit all of our addresses and phone numbers, which I was very excited about because usually you don't have a lot of space to do that. So this is going to be part of the program, and each patient that is enrolled in the posture program will be receiving one of these cinch bags, and there's going to be goodies in it, lots of goodies in there, and we'll be reviewing that shortly. You guys like these? Yeah, pretty color. Okay. Do I hit down again to go to the next one? Oh, there it is. So that's the copy that you all are going to be receiving. And then this is all the information. This is, again, the sticker, the cinch bag. In the cinch bag, you're going to be having, these are the rolling foams, we call them noodles, foam rolls, and that's going to be for the exercises that the patients are going to be assigned. And then we're going to have the folder, and you'll be seeing that later. And then there's also going to be inserted in there is a band, the exercise band. And you call that, Chole? TheraBand. Yes. Okay. I think that's all of me.
We'll pull all these items together later on in the group so we can all go home with some bags that are already filled out. Oh, this is you also.
Oh, it is me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it is me.
Oh, I would
Sorry.
love to talk about you.
Okay, sorry. That's fine. Okay, so just so you all know, we're going to be marketing the program, obviously, to all the physicians because we want them to start sending their patients and identify patients that are coming in all age ranges, not just our senior age range, because as we just talked about earlier, there's a lot of teens with especially those heavy backpacks they're wearing. And as you said, people that are in computer jobs or sedentary on their desks all day. So we'll be out there promoting it. I will be collaborating with physician champions to help promote the program. We're looking at two physicians for East and HB side, Dr. Alvarado, and for the West side, Dr. Sylvia. So we'll be talking to them about that and trying to get them on board so they can attend a couple of educational seminars that we're going to have, and so they can help us promote it to the community as well. And then they may pick up the benefit to them, because somebody was asking today what's the benefit for them. They could pick up new patients with that as well. Okay. As far as promoting the program, also we're going to be promoting it on the website. I'll be working with Kyle, with BK, our website designer, with Kyle, who's supposed to be the Facebook guru, and he's in Idaho. I think he's out of Idaho. And we came about him through Paul Martin, who is our consultant, and then Armando. He's going to be our local guru for Facebook, because I do not Facebook or tweet. We're also going to be promoting this posture program on the website. We already have it there under clinical services, and we should be going live hopefully by the end of this week for sure. Next week, definitely. First of next week. We're just tweaking a few things and getting some stuff edited. So Facebook, there's going to be a huge push on there for the educational seminars and the program as well. And then we will also be putting out a press release time frame probably after March 5th, between March 5th and the end of the month, where we're going to have our postural program. So these are all information on how we're going to be promoting the program. Okay, y'all have any questions? No? Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. So at this time, we're going to take we're going to do a little group activity. But when you go up by clinic, I want you to, your cinch bags, you're going to be taking 10 bags back to your clinics. Make sure you have a 36 foam roll, and I want to thank HV for bringing this huge box. I saw the message, Rosie. So here are your your foam rolls. Make sure that each bag has one of those. You're going to have a 3-foot yellow resistant TheraBand. Okay, that's the table for the TheraBand. We brought you the easy stuff.
I wonder what those are for. I saw you had a bunch of samples.
You don't put everything inside the bags once you open it? And you also probably make them. Yeah. What can we do? Like how you're like ready to fight. It's like anybody looks at me sideways. I know. But they only need to take out 20, yeah. Yeah, they need 10 for each foot. So they, as long as we have 20 out, we can take the rest.
These are for you, Vanessa. These are the Spanish referral cards.
Oh, okay,
I finally got those
perfect.
in. There's 100, so when you all are ready, you guys can really reorder those on your own if you'd like.
Yes, awesome.
But I want to
We're
get
thinking
those
also
too.
maybe going like to the, because we have a lot of adult daycare, especially right across from
Right.
us, and they're always referring.
Okay, yeah, you want to take some of those? So you want a few more? You want like 50 more?
Yeah, give me
Yeah,
I got 150.
I'm not going to put these in there, right? Sure, 25. There you go, my dear. And then I hope
Yes,
it'll work.
yes, it should be good.
Good, thank you. Are you struggling with those noodles, Eric? They're falling out on you.
Look at, they're over there playing with their noodles.
That doesn't sound good. But Jolie, you should. I didn't realize I had my glasses on my.
I'm sorry,
I just
I
thought
was
you should.
not about to
Jolie, that's You know, it's like forgetting them when they're on top of your head. I do that.
Oh, that I would have
I do that all the time.
But I
Like, where are they? I'm like going crazy.
No, I would have seen them. But I truly I didn't see them.
Oh, yeah, it's
Just
like, oh,
focusing
shit,
on
I
what
didn't,
you're saying.
and I didn't even notice. That's how focused I was trying to be. So I'm going to pass these out to the OCs now.
Yes,
Yeah?
this would be good. Yeah, if you're allergic to latex, go wash your hands. Just and you'll know. We'll let the patients know. Thank you.
They move my cheeks. don't know if it's hard.
Oh, it's not, is it?
I don't think they would want that.
Raising discomfort and long-term pain. What? Less discomfort and long-term pain. When I read it, I thought it just said long-term pain. Yeah, long-term pain.
The way it was worded,
It's just
said, long-term pain
and then we'll divide it.
Yeah, so that's what I thought.
Switch it around. That's the one.
All right.
Do you have one?
Okay.
Your hand up?
Yeah, it's on. Get off stream. And you know what? I thought about the bell for the first time. And I looked in my car. Oh. Okay, we're about to get started. All right, let's continue. Yep. All right. So we are going to introduce a concept that really is traditionally presented at management courses. So this is our gift to you all. Wherever you go, for those of you who will be going on to other jobs because by virtue of just finishing college or moving on to someone else, take this gift from the board members, Rudy and I. It's used in that area. For those of you who are staying, you're going to learn a lot about how to learn a lot about Cialdini's 6 principles of influence and persuasion. So as I did a little bit of research on how we were going to try to get this product out to the community and then really, really sell it once they walk into the clinic, I started to think of one of the documentaries that Albert and I had seen on Steve Jobs. And one of the things that he did when he was running Apple is that he made sure, oops, he got lost. I don't know where it went. My little pointer. But we'll find it.
The pointer?
We'll find it. Don't worry.
It's not over there?
Back in the
Behind
couch,
you?
How? Okay, thank you. Apple said, when we produce a product, we will approach it in the most strict branding practices. He made sure that every single department in the company of Apple knew this principle. Regardless of whether the product was going to go to China to get built, he made sure that all the management team, from top to bottom, started to understand Cialdini's 6 principles of influence or persuasion. Because he says, if we do not have this in our minds from the onset, we're going to produce something that maybe it's already out there. What's going to make it outstanding? He says, there's already cell phones out there. Why should they buy ours? Or why should the big move, I remember, we went from gray and white computers to colored computers. And that was the brain idea of an engineer's subordinate who was younger, and said, let's introduce color in the cover sheet. So you see loud colors, and that was, I think, occurred in the late 90s, I believe. Late 90s and all of the early 2000s. Additionally, they said every detail in their products have been crafted to deliver the same experience for everyone. So let's go on a journey to find out what Cialdini's 6 principles of influence and persuasion. We're going to watch a video. Now, just a second. We'll watch a video first, and then there's going to be a 3-fold concept. After the video, we're then going to go and apply each of those principles to our particular industry, our profession, which is physical therapy. After that, then I have a little surprise. Okay. Yes, it's an 11-minute video. Make sure you don't fall asleep. He'll start it again and you just get it louder.
Researchers have been studying the factors that influence us to say yes to the requests of others for over 60 years. And there can be no doubt that there's a science to how we are persuaded. And a lot of this science is surprising. When making a decision, it would be nice to think that people consider all the available information in order to guide their thinking. But the reality is very often different. In the increasingly overloaded lives we lead, more than ever, we need shortcuts or rules of thumb to guide our decision making. My own research has identified just 6 of these shortcuts as universals that guide human behavior. They are reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Understanding these shortcuts and employing them in an ethical manner can significantly increase the chances that someone will be persuaded by your request. Let's take a closer look at each in turn.
So, the first universal principle of influence is reciprocity. Simply put, people are obliged to give back to others the form of behavior, gift, or service that they have received first. If a friend invites you to their party, there's an obligation for you to invite them to a future party you are hosting. If a colleague does you a favour, then you owe that colleague a favour. And in the context of a social obligation, people are more likely to say yes to those that they owe. One of the best demonstrations of the principle of reciprocation comes from a series of studies conducted in restaurants. So the last time you visit a restaurant, there's a good chance that the waiter or waitress will have given you a gift, probably at about the same time that they bring you a bill. A liqueur perhaps, or a fortune cookie, or perhaps a simple mint. So here's the question. Does the giving of a mint have any influence over how much tip you're going to leave them? Most people will say no, but that mint can make a surprising difference. In the study, giving diners a single mint at the end of their meal typically increased tips by around 3%. Interestingly, if the gift is doubled and 2 mints are provided, tips don't double. They quadruple, a 14% increase in tips. But perhaps most interestingly of all is the fact that if the waiter provides 1 mint, starts to walk away from the table, but pauses, turns back, and says, for you nice people, here's an extra mint, tips go through the roof. A 23% increase, influenced not by what was given, but how it was given. So the key to using the principle of reciprocation is to be the first to give and to ensure that what you give is personalized and unexpected.
The second universal principle of persuasion is scarcity. Simply put, people want more of those things they can have less of. When British Airways announced in 2003 that they would no longer be operating the twice-daily London-New York Concorde flight because it had become uneconomical to run, sales the very next day took off. Notice that nothing had changed about the Concorde itself. It certainly didn't fly any faster, the service didn't suddenly get better, and the airfare didn't drop. It had simply become a scarce resource, and as a result, people wanted it more. So when it comes to effectively persuading others using the scarcity principle, the science is clear. It's not enough simply to tell people about the benefits they'll gain if they choose your products and services. You'll also need to point out what is unique about your proposition and what they stand to lose if they fail to consider your proposal.
Our third principle of influence is the principle of authority, the idea that people follow the lead of credible, knowledgeable experts. Physiotherapists, for example, are able to persuade more of their patients to comply with recommended exercise programs if they display their medical diplomas on the walls of their consulting rooms. People are more likely to give change for a parking meter to a complete stranger if that requester wears a uniform rather than casual clothes. What the science is telling us is that it's important to signal to others what makes you a credible, knowledgeable authority before you make your influence attempt. Of course, this can present problems. You can hardly go around telling potential customers how brilliant you are, but you can certainly arrange for someone to do it for you. And surprisingly, the science tells us that it doesn't seem to matter if the person who introduces you is not only connected to you, but also likely to prosper from the introduction themselves. One group of real estate agents were able to increase both the number of property appraisals and the number of subsequent contracts that they wrote by arranging for reception staff who answered customer inquiries to first mention their colleagues' credentials and expertise. So, customers interested in letting a property were told, "Lettings? Let me connect you with Sandra, who has over 15 years' experience letting properties in this area." Customers who wanted more information about selling properties were told, "Speak to Peter, our head of sales. He has over 20 years' experience selling properties. I'll put you through now." The impact of this expert introduction led to a 20% rise in the number of appointments and a 15% increase in the number of signed contracts. Not bad for a small change informed from persuasion science that was both ethical and costless to implement.
The next principle is consistency. People like to be consistent with the things they have previously said or done. Consistency is activated by looking for and asking for small initial commitments that can be made. In one famous set of studies, researchers found, rather unsurprisingly, that very few people would be willing to erect an unsightly wooden board on their front lawn to support a Drive Safely campaign in their neighborhood. However, in a similar neighborhood close by, 4 times as many homeowners indicated that they would be willing to erect this unsightly billboard. Why? Because 10 days previously, they had agreed to place a small postcard in the front window of their home that signaled their support for a Drive Safely campaign. That small card was the initial commitment that led to a 400% increase in a much bigger but still consistent change. So, when seeking to influence using the consistency principle, the detective of influence looks for voluntary, active, and public commitments, and ideally gets those commitments in writing. For example, one recent study reduced missed appointments at health centers by 18%, simply by asking the patients rather than the staff to write down appointment details on the future appointment card.
The fifth principle is the principle of liking. People prefer to say yes to those that they like. But what causes one person to like another? Persuasion science tells us that there are 3 important factors. We like people who are similar to us, we like people who pay us compliments, and we like people who cooperate with us towards mutual goals. As more and more of the interactions that we are having take place online, it might be worth asking whether these factors can be employed effectively in, let's say, online negotiations. In a series of negotiation studies carried out between MBA students at 2 well-known business schools, some groups were told, "Time is money, get straight down to business." In this group, around 55% were able to come to an agreement. A second group, however, were told, "Before you begin negotiating, exchange some personal information with each other. Identify a similarity you share in common. Then begin."
So we're gonna go one by one, and then I need you to turn the paper over to Margot for me, please, because it is from there that we're gonna continue to build our product. All right, group number 1, reciprocity. Who was spokesperson? Oh. I got cheated.
I have really smart people in my group, but they're very shy. Okay, so obviously ours is on reciprocity, as Sheila mentioned, and our whole conversation was to put the onus, the commitment, the responsibility on the patient. So as they intro the patient to the posture program, we need to let them know that this program, as you said, is the only one in El Paso that we have packaged this program specifically for them, designed it for them, and we need their time and commitment to see the whole process through, the whole program through. In addition to this, we have put together and we have designed a gift for you that is specific for exercises to your program, and that when you return for your next visit, we will discuss your progression each time you come back for their next visit. So you're really keeping that connection with them, and just really, really emphasizing and teaching how important it is to meet their program guidelines, their exercise guidelines, and to come back for their appointments. And the last thing is to share this with your family and friends, because if you're benefiting from this, you want your family and friends that you know may be suffering or dealing with posture problems to come back and have them come back also to us, and we get more referrals. So that's it. Okay.
Yay! When that group said, and this is a gift for you, I was going to say, here's your bag. So that's good. We can use that word. All right. Group number 2, scarcity. Who is it? Oh, it's Rosie. Okay. You need to come up.
Oh, no.
Yes. No, you know what?
Basically, the program.
You could at least stand up and maybe stand right here. That would work.
As far as what we came upon, it has a lot to do with what Margot says. Your patients call, you want to let them know, advise them that this is the only program in El Paso. It's tailored to our therapists or professionals at all the facilities. We will be working with their insurances to have no problem as far as the program being paid by their insurance. They will get a package, with all the information. The therapist will review it. They do go home with everything that they have. There's also a way of letting them know, because I know that at some of the facilities we get referrals from the adult daycare centers. There's a lot of adult daycare centers that we could maybe bring this to them also. Let them know, we'll work with the centers, let them know, because they're the ones that get the prescription originally, and they take their patients wherever they choose. So if we let them know ahead of time that, yes, if they're having posture problems, if they're having back pain, if they're having neck pain, this all has to do with their posture, they can refer them to our facilities, and we have a specific program for that, that need as far as utilizing them. Down the line, maybe introduce it to some of the schools next year. They have health fairs, have a presentation with posture, because a lot of kids do have posture problems. We did talk about that also. Another suggestion was that make sure that they know that this is used in your home, sports, while you're sitting, while you're walking. You're going to focus on doing all this while you're doing other activities. It's not just to go to the clinic, do your exercise, and go home and do nothing. You're going to work with this. Even if you're in sports, you're going to learn how to utilize it, no matter in which situation you're in. We do offer you benefits in your program while receiving, of course, a complete package to take home that includes your TheraBand, your pole, everything that you're going to use to do your exercises at home. The program is basically going to help you feel better and utilize your strength to help you in the long run have more energy, feel better about yourself, feel better about how your body feels, your posture. And of course, family members are going to notice this, your friends are going to notice this. So you're going to have a lot of confidence and have energy and reduce all your neck pain, back pain, any other posture problems that you have.
Thank you. And what I heard you say twice is the only one, unique. And so thank you. That now makes it super scarcity. There's none other like it. Great. Okay, number 3, who is the rep for, the spokesperson for authority?
Oh,
H1N1.
Are we in high school? She's sick. Yeah.
Okay. Just type A, so don't worry. All right. So ours had to do with authority, and we're going to go ahead and start it up from the beginning, from when we first have our initial encounter with the patient. I'm going to go ahead and let them know the experience that we've had, the credentials that the therapist holds, and just let them feel comfortable. And like how medicine, it's not the therapist's first rodeo or the tech's first rodeo. They've been here, they've done it, they've experienced, and it's not a newbie, and they're going to have high training, even the techs, with this new posture program. So they can feel comfortable and not feel like they're test subjects or something like that. We're also going to go ahead and let them know that, the therapists do continue on in their education with the CCUs, which has implemented different programs such as the posture program. And it goes ahead and you guys have your professional meetings as well, just to make them feel secure. The experience altogether, you can always say 30+ years in physical therapy, that's really good. And it's one of a kind, like Kapshali was saying, this is something that we can go ahead and push forward with El Paso Physical Therapy being the first here in El Paso and nationwide that holds this posture program for our patients, because it's a community and a family, and that's how we see them. So we want them to improve their posture, which will help them overall health-wise.
Wow, great. Several times I really pushed authority, where you have the knowledge base and I heard and the years. Great. Okay, we're running a little bit behind schedule, and I want to really catch up some time. I know I'm where I can catch it up, but let's keep our summaries brief. So, you must be number 4.
How's that for brief?
So we had, our group was consistency. What we came up with was telling our patient what their initial goal is, why they're here, and why they should understand what posture and how it's good for them. Especially like Margot said, you don't want to be that person that's slumpy and drowsy and you don't look good. So secondly, we came up with the pictures like Chole was talking about with the actual chart. You want to show them a before and an afterwards so that they can actually see a visual aid. Thirdly, we said that we wanted to make them sure that they know about the buzzwords and the gift that Margot talked about. Because if they see those and they don't know what pinching or kissing the shoulder blades or what a puck and tuck is, they're not going to know exactly what any of those words mean unless the text, the therapist, everybody initially tells them what those things mean. Fourthly, we came up with a commitment to the program so that they know that at the very end they're going to feel good and this is going to be good for them in the long run. Fifth, we said to come up with some successful stories that we've had from the past patients, and so that they know that it's good for them why they're there. And like Vanessa was talking about, we said that it's the benefits, not everybody is going to know about it, from the techs to the therapist to the front staff. So everybody across the board knows what we're talking about. And lastly, Anthony came up with a good one, completed like, hey, I completed the postural program sticker, and this is what we came up with and how we did. Good job.
Good.
Yeah, but Anthony just had another great idea to get for the staff to where it's ask me about our posture program.
Whoa.
So
You got
those are
work
coming.
to do. Great. Thank you, Sol. That was great. Thank you so much. Okay, liking. Who represents liking?
I represent Nike.
And turn in your papers to Margot.
Okay,
Sure.
and no offense to 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Ah.
But liking is what's going to keep the people with us. This is the connection. This is because if you don't like someone or someone doesn't like you, you can have all the reciprocity, scarcity, but they're not coming back. So we took a group that really thought about being a family with them, liking their family members. And like you mentioned, the pet, having that connection. We took it also to another level and give them a reason to like you. If you're a teenager, you're in school, You're gonna be more attractive. You're gonna be more confident, more approachable. Give them reasons to like themselves as much as they like you. For the elderly, the seniors, you have better tolerance with playing with your pets, with your grandkids. You're giving them the reason why they should be coming back to you all the time, liking you. For employed workers, prolonged endurance in their job, less fatigue, it prevents injuries, helps them with recreational activities. All those are liking because then they get raises. Things go well. And then for athletes, of course, you've got less risk of injury, better endurance, liking what they do. So in general, our team says, everyday activities such as this, if you're an athlete, a teenager, a senior, work in office, you will notice these benefits if you like
How do you follow that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what else to say. Okay, and consensus. Oh, no. Love it, old girl. She's
So, what we went ahead and said was, in order to have our patients come to a consensus that they're gonna, really buy in, we said that we needed to show them the before and after pictures, which we don't have right now. So that was one of our big problems when we were going into this. We don't have any patients yet. But then we also said, well, we've already been treating these patients before, so we've already been working on posture with other patients. It's not just the posture program where we're getting started. So we wanted to go ahead and let them know, we've already been seeing these patients. You're not going to be the first ones. And everybody that's gone through some sort of posture has gotten something out of it. And then going into like research, how Margo was saying, there's better digestion, there's all these things that research has already shown. And so throwing that in there saying, research or studies across, the country or even the world have said posture does all this for you. So they get into like more buying into it, okay, this works. And then just in summary, like us saying, there's never been anybody that has gone through a posture program that hasn't gotten something out of it. That's, confidence, decreased pain, improved function.
Great. This team probably had the toughest one because it hasn't happened yet. We don't have data. But we are, thank you for bringing up that one of the things we could say right now, all of us PT and PTAs, when I say PT, it's all of us, is that we can say regardless of, we've had patients who've had knee or ankle problems that we've worked on their posture. So I think that's a really nice connection that you all referenced. Thank you, very good, okay. Great job to all of you, yes. Okay. So the beginning of an amazing package, I can already, thank you, this was a fun thing I had when I was researching, and this component of it was better than what I expected. Thank you so much. So designing this amazing package for our program patient, remember, it'll always be a work in progress. My architect friend said a home is always a work in progress. You always want that house to be changing in one way or another. And so this is, we're not going to stifle our postural program. Management has made a commitment to always keep it amazing. iPhone has done that. Apple, they've done that. They've done the series. You've seen that. I'm going to give you a little story about a little bit more that touch home. Every detail in the program has been crafted to deliver the same El Paso posture program experience for any patient who enters the program. Apple had this on there when I was doing the research, but they put every detail in the program has been crafted to deliver the same experience for anyone who purchases their products. So one of the stories is one of the engineering team, when they were designing the box, one of the engineers, and I don't know what series of phone it was a while back, but his team said, let's not just put a box that just opens, and fits neatly. Let's almost have them have the experience of an engagement ring when they open these. I don't know if you've ever bought a piece of jewelry with a box. It's super fancy, and it has a little lip around it that's extra. they want you to experience it very differently from any other ring that you purchased. And that ring becomes such an integral part of your life, but that first experience is really, really powerful. And that's what one of the engineering groups did. They proposed it to their uppers, and then they bought into it. So the design of Apple, although you have open mind box, so I haven't had the experience.
All the time.
All the time.
Oh, I get it all the
But
time.
Everything is not my engagement ring. But when I broke my iPhone just recently, I was blessed to have Armando's rescue. But we want everyone to have an amazing experience when they enter, from the time they enter to the time they leave, and for the rest of their lives. Okay, we're going to now go a little bit faster. We want to talk a little bit about the front desk process and procedures. Rudy and I are going to give this presentation. He will start.
Okay. Thank you. Wow, how do you follow all that? I should have been the opening act. But anyways, an amazing package. How do we start the amazing package? So we're going to start with the front desk processes and procedures, right? Whenever somebody calls the office, we want to make sure that they hear a smile in our voice or see a smile in our face regarding this amazing product, the posture program. So, based on the fact that we're going to give you some procedures and processes, the first thing you want to say, of course, is be very liking, like Armando said, and that they see that smile in your face. Also, we're going to go just a little brief review and an update of the manual. It is still a working process as far as the front office procedures and processes is concerned. It will apply also to the posture program. We will insert in addition to this, regarding the posture program, most of the things will be the same that we are saying for overall patients, but we will direct some of those posture program patients with other verbiage that Elaine from Martin and Associates has given us, or is going to give us. The revision of the new patient log for OCs that handle this, we've revised that, or the team has revised it to where at the very end on the left-hand side is a new column for posture patients. I think that all of you seen it already?
Yes.
That's a good? Yeah. Okay, good. And it's on share, right? Share file. So, with that said and talked about, I'm going to give this to the OCs so that you can take it back with you, put it by your side, give a copy to your receptionist, make sure that you use it, you write on it, you scribble on it, practice with it, make any changes you would like to see. Okay, so put this by your side and make sure that you work with it and really give me some input as to what you would like to see changed or added or even deleted, because it's not a final product. It's a work in progress. So take it with you today, work with it, and then I'll get back to you in a couple of weeks or so and see where you're at and where we need to go so we can finalize it. Any questions?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And when you start looking at OCs, the very first section, Amanda and I later on when we scripted it exactly like that. We just added one more sentence. That's all for right now. Nothing else changes. We're going to go by Rudy's leadership on that in that area. All right. So the next section is going to be presented by the physical therapist of our company. All right. What we're going to do is each therapist is going to stand up here for 3 minutes. He's going to time you, and then when the chime goes on, that means your 3 minutes are up. That's the way it sounds. And what our goal for this is for us to know, for everyone to know, if we had a patient, they're going to give a small scenario, very small scenario, 84-year-old female, if that's what it is, what tests we have done, one of many, and then 2 exercises. It doesn't necessarily need to be applied to the patient that they're talking about. It's just 2 common exercises that they've done. Okay, so Rudy starts.
Yes. Okay. So my presentation today is on a 32-year-old female receptionist at EPPTS. Patient comes in with symptoms to both hands, numbness, tingling, what have you, and a neck that is in this position. Okay? So
First stick no more than 3 yards.
Feet.
I calculated it.
Oh, I see.
And
You're
Alyssa,
set it down? Is that what
3
you're
feet,
saying?
I'm sorry, 3 feet. So 1 yard, 3 feet. And Alyssa and I
those are
have
bands.
calculated how many we can get out of that. So these are real biggie. Sylvia brought some scissors. And then the illustrated anatomy of the illustration, that is not ready for lamination yet. It needed to get my final approval. We did it this morning, so we'll get those out to you. Those are the things that we want you for sure to take today. So if you all can take about 10 minutes to your prospective clinics, come up here and start filling up your bags.
Associated. In this group, 90% of them were able to come to successful and agreeable outcomes that were typically worth 18% more to both parties. So to harness this powerful principle of liking, be sure to look for areas of similarity that you share with others and genuine compliments you could give before you get down to business.
The final principle is consensus. Especially when they are uncertain, people will look to the actions and behaviors of others to determine their own. You may have noticed that hotels often place a small card in bathrooms that attempt to persuade guests to reuse their towels and linen. Most do this by drawing a guest's attention to the benefits that reuse can have on environmental protection. It turns out that this is a pretty effective strategy, leading to around 35% compliance. But could there be an even more effective way? Well, it turns out that about 75% of people who check into a hotel for 4 nights or longer will reuse their towels at some point during their stay. So what would happen if we took a lesson from the principle of consensus and simply included that information on the cards and said that 75% of our guests reuse their towels at some time during their stay? So please do so as well. It turns out that when we do this, towel reuse rises by 26%. Now imagine the next time you stay in a hotel, you saw one of these signs. You picked it up and you read the following message. 75% of people who have stayed in this room have reused their towel. What would you think? Well, here's what you might think. I hope they're not the same towels. And like most people, you probably think that this sign will have no influence on your behavior whatsoever. But it turns out that changing just a few words on a sign to honestly point out what comparable previous guests have done was the single most effective message, leading to a 33% increase in reuse. So, the science is telling us that rather than relying on our own ability to persuade others, we can point to what many others are already doing, especially many similar others.
So there we have it, 6 scientifically validated principles of persuasion that provide for small, practical, often costless changes that can lead to big differences in your ability to influence and persuade others in an entirely ethical way. They are the secrets from the science of persuasion.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab those principles and start to discuss them as a group, how they apply to our particular industry, to our particular specialty in physical therapy, is particularly outpatient orthopedic. So that's kind of the direction that I went. As remember that we're here to influence and persuade our program patients to a very strong commitment. We want them that when the doctor tells them they're coming, or when their friend tells them, by the way, I loved that program, that they have that same experience that their friend did. The first one that he mentioned was reciprocity. Remember, patients will give you back their commitment based on the service and behavior you gave them first. Let us define our mint. All of you have mints in front of you. Where are my experts?
Manipulated. I don't have a mint to give.
That's your truth.
Rosa, how would it feel if I gave you 2 more? like, thank you.
Perfect, 'cause I'm
So we need to find our mint. What mint are we going to give them when way before they leave that first day? And it's going to be different from all of you, because all of us 5 therapists are different here. You know, what we discover from within is going to be unique and only to us. But who knows, we might be able to give 2 types of mints, you know, and it be equally as powerful. Be the first to give so that they may, and he said, quadruple their commitment back to us. That's an amazing percentage when they can quadruple or return that much commitment back to you. Then he talked about scarcity. Tell them what is unique about this product. Know your product so well, every dimension of it, that you can speak it with such eloquence and passion. We are the only posture program in El Paso packaged in this manner. And that's not false advertisement. That is going to be absolutely 100% true advertisement. Because none other in El Paso, or for that matter, anywhere in the world, is a postural program packaged like ours is going to be. So we have those kind of bragging rights as we move forward. It's unique and it's available only to our facilities, and be able to be ready to say that. When Amanda and I move on to teaching the technicians, we're going to impress this upon them, that it is unique and it's nowhere else. Authority. Patients follow credible and knowledgeable experts. When I went and referenced and found this video, I was amazed. I said, they mentioned physical therapists. For it to have reached a well-renowned worldwide speaker and him use physical therapy, he knew that every physical therapist takes the time to teach. And if their credentials are out there in the lobby, it even makes it more authentic, with more authority. Patients follow credible and knowledgeable experts. Patients will follow through if they can feel your knowledge come through. Therapists and staff members, when appropriate, because it may not always be, let our patients know about our knowledge base. You could say combined here, we have a combined knowledge of, if you go to the West, 20 and I think 15 or 20, how many? 19, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But you know, get to know something about your PTs. Lily, when they go down 7 years, I think it is it 7? 6 years. 6 years. And be proud to say that she has a doctoral degree, because you truly were the first one in our practice. Alyssa, first one to get the needling, and I think that, you know, combined both of you and I have, well, 38. She's a baby and I'm 37. But you know, don't be afraid to talk about. We are, especially because we're committed to continuing education. And to improve our knowledge base. That is what you receptionists can say about us. Consistency. Look and ask for small commitments that you know your patients can make at the beginning of the posture program, such as the commitment to their goal. Later on, when you start reading the Anatomy Illustrated handout, their buzzwords is sternal lifts or chest up, puck and tuck, ear to shoulder. You're going to be able to use it, and we want to repeat those buzzwords time and time again, so that when they go out, they start talking about these buzzwords to their friends. Small commitments early on to get the big commitment throughout the program and all the way to the end. Liking people have 3 components. People who are similar, who pay compliments to us, and who cooperate with us have successful, agreeable outcomes. Let's look at the first one, similarity. I believe that this is a very powerful moment for us PTs when we're inside in the evaluation. To find out similarities during history taking. Dig and find out what happened. I had a patient last year that I want to tell you a story about. It was an Hispanic lady, Spanish speaking only, and when I started, after I went in and I said, hola, yo soy Chole Armendariz, voy a ser su terapista. So, platíqueme, ¿cómo se lastimó su rodilla? How did you break your knee? How did you injure your knee? And her answer was in Spanish, my dog tripped me. And I thought, oh, I felt so sorry for her because she was about in her late 70s. And I said, ay, que lástima. And I thought of my 2 dogs, how many times they've almost tripped me in the kitchen, you know, just swing by my legs. And I said, oh my goodness, when I told her, que lástima, ¿y cómo se llama? And she says, pues, and she paused, se llama Canalita. And I thought, oh, that's unique. You know, mine's Lily. Or I have a dog that's Lily and another dog that's Kai Kai. And so she said, I said to her, how did you come up with that name? And in such a sweet manner, in her Spanish voice, she says, es Chihuahua, mira, es Chihuahua muy chiquita y tiene el color de canela. Pues, and canela in English is cinnamon. And so she said, y por eso le llamo Canalita. So I always remembered, I don't know if my team remembers that, I'd say, hola señora, ¿y cómo está Canalita? And I made that connection, not because I wanted to, but because I have dogs that I love just as passionately as she does. So find your similarity in one way or another, because once you do, it really develops that relationship and that long-term liking that becomes so powerful to your influence. The other one is one who pays genuine compliments. And I like that word, genuine. Wow, we are fortunate to be given this gift in our profession. Telling our patients how great they achieved proper body mechanics or proper completion of their exercise. How many times I have heard my colleagues at wherever clinic I go out and help, tell them, I remember when you couldn't do that. I am so proud of you. So we have that opportunity to give compliments incredibly. And I know that we do. This is probably one of our most powerful of the 6 that I've seen consistently throughout our practice. And then the last one is one who cooperates with us. A continuous cooperation occurs with our patients through mutual goals that we've established. When we're carefully listen to what they want to achieve, he statistically said 90% come to successful and agreeable outcomes. When I look at our photo, we're not in the 90 percentile, we're higher than that. We range anywhere from 94 to 97% of satisfaction. So I feel very comfortable that this is going to be a stronger percentage than what statistically is here. And then the last one he spoke about is consensus. People look at actions of others, and they look at what others who have completed the program say. I think this is why our practice has so many patients come back through friends and family, because they have seen the outcome in their friends and family, and there is a consensus that we do what we do well. One of the components that he uses is social proof. So Margot is really going to push us, and we need to be supporting her from the very beginning. Start thinking. Future testimonial videos on our webpage and testimonials on Facebook. They all contribute to our success. When Margot and I were in Chicago this past fall, we split and went to 2 different classes. And one of the classes that I went to is how they promoted specific programs. And so they had a contest amongst the clinic, somewhere in the country, I can't remember where it was. But it was turn in your testimonial with a patient. And it was really interesting how she showed the different pictures of PTs got really creative with the patients. You know, some took them outside, others were in the gym, others, there was one that she had, the PT had the patient put a sign that she made. And then she went to the next sign, kind of what we've seen on TV, but it was really, really creative. And then they showed the winner for that facility. But they really promoted, and that's what we need to do and be thinking. Let's not be afraid to do that for our marketing department. We want marketing to say 90 days from now, on May of 2018, that 100% of our patients who came through the program were satisfied with the service that they received, the knowledge that they were given, and that people told them they looked different. You just look better. You know, what have you been doing? Let them be forced by virtue of the way they look, that they can talk about who they are. And Amanda and I later on, when we give a presentation, our part, we're going to be taking before and after pictures. So they will be able to see the difference from their posture when they come in to when they come out at the very end. Okay. And we want them to talk about El Paso's posture program. That is our goal. Small, like he said, practical, and he made sure that we knew that sometimes costless changes that lead to big differences in your ability to persuade others in an ethical way. And so we will be doing everything ethically because we've always been big, and it's one of our great internal values. So little things, and there's Canalita, I think, because she was a Chihuahua. to make her brown. Okay, so we're going to go into groups, and kind of before anybody separates, this is what we're going to do. If you notice, your name badge has a number. So if you all can look, all of you have a number on your name badge. So when we're ready, not yet, all the ones are going to go together, and you're going to talk about reciprocity. Please take your handouts with you because it'll help you remember what we had said. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So with 2 is scarcity, authority, etc. Move the chairs around so you're in almost a circle kind of format, because circles work really, really good. When you get together, you're going to be given one paper only. You're going to write down you're going to need to name a spokesperson of your group. Somebody has to stand up and speak. Your groups are going to average 3 to 4 people per group. That's the way we kind of looked at it. There's room to take notes about what your peers are saying regarding that particular principle. And then you're going to have a summary, because you are then going to stand up and speak of the summary that you gave. We want a gift back from you so that we can then make this whole product bigger and better as we finalize it and as it moves into the webpage. So that's what we're going to do for another good 15 minutes. We're not going to rush it. So group number 1, why don't you all come over here? All the ones. Okay. See, we'll do 1, and then we'll do 2 and 3 that way. And then 4, 5, and 6 over there. Okay. Are you the one? Yes. Okay. You don't have to be the spokesperson, but somebody has to. Move the chairs. Okay. Go get a snack.
Oh, you're speaking.
Shoes are over here.
Oh, over there. You have 4? Mondo, can we turn the air down?
Oh, 2. Okay. 4. 3 over there. Are you guys 4?
Yeah, come on over.
4. Who is 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the first thing we do, of course, is we evaluate the patient. We find out what the problems are, we do a problem set, and then, of course, we do some clinical testing, and then from there we do our goals and our kind of care. The clinical test that I have picked, and I'll need a volunteer, one that is right in front. I'm going to have him sit right here. The clinical test I chose because of the radiculopathy on both upper extremities, the numbness, tingling, burning, what have you, is a Sperling maneuver. The Sperling maneuver, if a patient is sitting in a chair and you're talking to them, you want to find out what's going on, what we do is bend the head away from the affected side. If the right side is the most symptomatic, we bend it away from the affected side, and then we apply an axial pressure over the head, and we reproduce symptoms, and it's positive. Okay? So I've used that test many times, and of course it gives us a good indication. 2 things I tell the patient is, and this is where the towels come in, is I'm going to show you that by improving your posture, you can really improve your symptoms immediately. A quick trick that I do is I show the patient, you're sitting right now in a comfortable position. If I push down on your shoulders, it feels like you're gonna slide out of the chair, right? And your spine kind of collapses. So what I do is get a towel. Everybody has a towel at their clinics. We fold it in half, fold it in fourths, and a bird comes out. You roll it up into a tight burrito, and this is exactly what I tell the patients. Roll it up into a really tight burrito, and if you would like, sew it together so it doesn't unravel, because if you put it on yourself and you lean forward, it's going to fall off. So tie it together, sew it together, put a piece of elastic from one side to the other, and that'll hold it on the chair. And you want to put this not on the lumbar area, but below the shoulder blades, as high as you can go. Now they're sitting straight, and if we push down on him now, even if I use a lot of pressure, the biomechanical advantage of the spine is not taking away that bad posture. So that's one way. Another thing is, if they get tired of using that, and they will, instead of rolling it, we want to fold it into 4 different parts. Real quick, give me this for a second. Stand up for me. Put this on the bottom, and have them sit on that. Go ahead and sit down. And then push your pelvis into a posterior tilt, and it improves also the biomechanical advantage of the spine.
All right, thank you.
Now.
So my patient is a 14-year-old female. Had a supposed car wreck. She has cervical radiculopathy as well as tendinitis on the one side, rotator cuff tendinitis. What I went ahead and did for her was plank, just to see, and then a Venton. Really high hypermobility, 15-second plank, muscle fasciculation, scapular winging, lumbar lordosis, that's no core, posture's terrible, forward head, slightly to the right all the time, rounded shoulders, anteriorly pelvically tilted anytime she's asked to do anything with her head reaching. So then my exercises, usually I'll try and use either the foam roll or the ball with scapular retractions up on the wall to get her out of either, she tends to be in forward posture when she's just regular standing, so getting her into the ball, chest up, scapular retractions with the ball behind her on the wall, and then anything core, up and tuck. As this patient's tendinitis has gone down, I've been trying to get her into like a quadruped position, just trying to see if she can tolerate weight bearing onto the arm, as well as keeping scapular, no scapular winging, keeping the shoulders forward, and then eyes, T's, and lines to get the posterior stabilizers kicking. And then
We have a guest speaker that's going to be coming, but she knows that we're running a little bit behind, so don't worry about it. Just keep going. She says she has time. So who's next? Lily.
No.
Alright, patient, 83-year-old female with shoulder pain. Right from the start, usually with our older patients, you can right away see the normal posture that they have. Increased kyphosis, forward head posturing, and that places them at fall risk. So the test I usually do with them is a scapular squeeze test. And I want you all to do it. It's really easy. It's usually done standing, but you can do it sitting. So I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades as hard as you can together and count the seconds. If you start having pain before 15 seconds, that's a positive test. You need strengthening on your back.
What does that mean?
Scapular squeeze.
Oh, that's not good.
Shoulder base squeezes.
Or less, it's a positive test. You need some strengthening.
What if you're getting cramps?
It's positive.
It's positive. So she was positive at 8 seconds, which tells us it's poor scapular retractor strength. Exercise for her, older patients, very basic scapular squeezes, as easy as that. Wall ankles. I like those cool. Thank you.
Very good.
All right, my patient is a 20-something-year-old female who's just recently had a baby. So she's poor posturing with nursing, having to change the baby, having to bathe the baby, very rounded shoulders, forward head. The test that I use is something that I've learned reading research articles. And what I have the patient do is stand up against the wall and try to stand up as straight as they can. Their heels don't need to be touching, but the base of the shoulder blade should, and I have them try to stand up straight. About the level of C7, I take a tape measure from the anterior acromion to the wall, and I measure the distance. Like I said, it's something they use in research articles, but it's not like an evidence-based test, but it gives you an idea of where they start versus where they end. You can say, okay, are they improving their posture? Another measurement that I'll do is I'll take T from behind their scapular. I'll look at the T3, and I'll measure T3 to the medial border of the right or the left scapula, and take a measurement depending, if they're rounded. I'll take one on each side, so I have something to measure initial eval versus reevaluation. Simple exercise. Most I do with new moms is a lot of patient education. They need to be having their baby upright and supported. They don't need to be down in this position. They need to be working on how they're bathing and feeding and changing, switching sides, and basic. I do cervical retraction and scapular retraction that they need to do. And then finding neutral position on a wall, trying to get the base of the shoulder blades, their head against the wall, and walking away and having to maintain that.
Mine is a 49-year-old male with shoulder problems. First thing that came in with postural deficits going forward this way. So one of the tests that I do besides all the shoulder testing is I test them in a plank position. And I'm looking for 3 things during the testing process. I will look at, once they started, I start the clock. I clock when do their scapulas start to spread out, or what we call protract, and then when do they start to lean. I'll stop the clock. At that time, I take them up to 30 seconds if they have not. But I'm also simultaneously looking at their lumbar spine to see if they're starting to dip. I will stop the test if they start to go into scapular protraction or start doing scapular leaning, because that's already telling you that they have a lot of postural deficits. So that's one I can test. The other one that I do, especially if their shoulders like that, I'll do the Aplesis scratch test. There's different evidence and research as how it's measured, but the Rheumatology Specialist Association, or National Medical Association, they measure going from the right arm behind their back and the right and the left, and the 2 middle fingers and the distance between those 2. During that time, I tell them to squeeze their shoulder blades. And then you measure, and you always document by the one that's an internal rotation, and then you do the reverse. And that's called the Aplesis scratch test. Again, there's different publicized methods of documenting the test, but you just start measuring as they get closer. And then exercise, definitely a plunking test. And I take them all the way down to 5 seconds. And I tell them they've got to be doing it like 3 times at home, not just 2 or 3 times. So I'll start with 6, usually 6 reps of 5 seconds. And then one of my favorites that a student really reminded me of is the forearm crawls. So they come up here and really picky about them not rotating the arm, because we want to strengthen the external rotators. They start with no TheraBand, if that's how weak they are. They climb up, we call forearm crawls, and then we add a TheraBand, and invariably, this is what we'll start moving. And so you've got to really be watching them to go vertical as they go up and down. And I just have them do 3 steps. Those are the 2 that I do.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yes.
Before you start, can I just, you guys try that, I had them bring the towels, and I want you guys to try and just, each one of you grab one and grab a partner and try it so you can see what that feels like.
Yes. Yes. The table's next to it. Right. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Vanessa. I saw what Vanessa did.
What did she do?
She got her coat and made a burrito.
Because they were talking about the neck.
Either way.
Yeah, knowing her. Okay, so it's in this.
Take 4 towels with you on the way back.
As a matter of fact, if you want to, you can set them there. It's almost time, but it's one slide. All right. I'm gonna remember that. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Do I need to stand up?
Not yet. No, go ahead and sit. Okay. All right. Little continuing ed without realizing it. All right, let's go on to the next section.
Thank you for trying that.
Thank you, Rudy. And then, maybe I'm in the wrong place. Do I go? Okay. All right. So this is the next slide. Everybody get your eyes up in the front. Okay. Our company has ordered a specific postural grids. They're going to look exactly like this. All 3 clinics are going to receive it. Although West already has one, we want similarity across the board. Please, at your prospective clinics, choose one room that will always be your postural exam room, evaluation room, so that your technicians know how to take the picture, of which Amanda and I will talk about in a little while. Okay, so this is the way it looks. It is fitted for a door size, and unfortunately they won't arrive for another week. Am I correct?
Friday.
Oh, Friday. They're scheduled to arrive on Friday, according to Mr. Amazon here. He does everything. Okay. That way the pictures are always predictably consistent. Oh, he doesn't want to go. I've had good luck all afternoon. Okay. So Amanda and I will be giving this presentation. So if you can step up. So all of this is in your handout, but Sylvia is going to first hand out the processing of a patient by the technician. So team leaders, you need to read this tonight, so that tonight and the next couple of nights, because it's very, very driven for your department. Now, the reason I want you to read it carefully, team leaders, is because you might pick up a mistake, you have a question. Amanda and I want to be ready for the technician in service, okay? So it may not be flowing, but this was our perception of how we need your input. And then would you, team leaders, would you give it to your prospective CAs wherever you are, and then they'll get it back to Amanda and I so we can revise it, okay? But start practicing, visualize it. Next thing is the postural pictures. Amanda's going to show you a little bit about that.
So this is a template with the help of Armando that we created. So the technicians are going to be trained how to align the patient on the postural grid correctly using anatomical landmarks. And then we're going to do a front, back, and a side view when they come in for their initial evaluation, and then we're going to take those same pictures before they have a progress note or during a reevaluation. So this should go with progress notes to the doctors, attached to re-evals to get it out there to show the doctors what we're doing, as well as reinforce it to the patient, look how far you've come. So I'm going to give 2 to each clinic so you guys can, and I'll show you where, or we can tell them where it's saved.
And Armando's going to save it on, we're going to create share file. It is going to say the postural program, and so everything that we use is going to be on that one folder, one shared file. Am I correct? He hasn't created it yet, so just be patient.
Yes, right.
All right. In terms of staff, in terms of your evaluation, PTs, you go have fun. This is your patient. We do not want to tell you how to examine the patient, okay? Just have fun. Just tell them that you are so excited that they're there. And then Amanda's going to talk a little bit about the folder.
Okay, so this is going to be the home program folder. It's similar to what we already use just for basic patients, but we are going to put this new posture program sticker on the front of it. We're also going to have the Slim Gym inside, as well as the open gym, Slim Gym in there, and then we'll be placing our home programs in there. So an idea of what it's going to look like when we get the stickers for every clinic. So only the postural program patients will have the home program with the sticker on it.
She's also going to talk about the exercise that's going to go inside the folder. They're pre-made already. They were selected by Amanda and myself. So
we have, we decided to put them on VHI just because we can do an English and a Spanish version. This is not something you have to use. This is just a quick reference. We want to make sure that when the patients come in, they go home with a home program that day. So if you're really busy in the clinic, you don't have time to devote to sitting down and doing one, this is kind of your cheat sheet. Do you have to use all of these? No, they're not designed for every patient, but what you can do is highlight with a yellow highlighter the ones you want the patient to use. Then you'll have to put your reps or your sets. We left all that blank so you can customize that for the patient. You can still have time to go in later on and make them another home program. This one does have the clam exercise, so you can use the TheraBand that you're giving them that day. And then I would go over how to use the foam roller, because you're giving them something, you need to tell them how to use it. So you can tell them how to lie down and stretch with it. And then you can go into more detail later. But I'm going to go ahead and all PTs and PTAs will take one.
And physical therapists and PTAs, when you use this pre-made home program, we do not want anything that has an X. We're going to be very consistent about that. It's going to be highlighted. So tell your patients to do only those that are highlighted, so that when they go and they show it to their family, there's not a big X on a picture. Okay, that's going to be that's going to be consistent.
And then just make sure that a copy of it with the patient's name gets scanned into Optimus, so we have a record that what we gave, or in case the patient loses it, we can go back into Optimus and pull up a copy and print it out.
And I'm also going to upload them.
Okay.
And they're going to be PDFs, so they can just drop down and enter.
Everything is going to be in the postural program folder. So if you want office staff, if you want to just get those ready for your PTs, do it. Now, we understand that not all patients can lay down, okay? So because everyone's going to get this as part of the gift, for your elderly, you're just going to show them how to use it in an upright position, okay? So that they can work, like Lily was saying, scapular squeezes and begin that process, or the puck and tuck that Alyssa was referencing to. All right. Now, before, I know it's not on my slide presentation, but it's in your handout. It's the office personnel, scripted exactly like the manual that Rudy is working on with our consultants. The one thing that we did is that we just switched over and we used welcome. And you do it with a lot of enthusiasm. once you've identified that they've come in as a postural program, Amanda's going to show what we're going to be doing.
So once the chart is ready, the receptionist puts it up, rings the bell. We want this to be in front of all the rest of the paperwork that's in the evaluation. So as soon as the technicians walk up or anybody sees this, we know that this is a postural patient that's entering the program. So that the techs can walk out into the lobbies, be very energetic, welcome to the postural program, and it lets everybody know in the clinic as well as the therapist when they go in the room that what kind of patient this is. So everybody, I'll give 2 of these to each OC for all 3 clinics.
And other patients in the lobby will hear that and want to know what that is.
Yes, yes. And Yvette is our go-to person for, she was the one that designed this, so I think you're going to grab, we're going to put everything on.
Yes.
So thank you, Yvette. Then we have one more thing. Sorry. She's my little Vanna White, she said.
Yes. Although I'm not mute. At the completion of the program, we want to give them a final gift, parting, so that they can see their accomplishments. So this is a certificate of completion given on their day of discharge, along with the thank you card, the friends and family. And it shows their posture at the initial evaluation and then at the time of discharge. This template Mondo also helped create, and it will be in the shared file with everything else. So all the technicians have to do when we go over training is click and paste.
Upload the picture.
Yeah, upload a picture. Super easy. So
And we're going to give you a little bit heavier bonded paper. We want that to be very secured because they're expensive, and we want it to be printed on that heavy bonded paper. Please, that's going to be real important because we are proud of the certificate that we're going to hand out. That is it. Oh, and you know what? It's our way of saying goodbye to Albert. They used Albert.
I had to use an employee that was no longer with us.
Yes, sorry.
Are we getting cameras to take pictures of everything?
Good question.
Good question. You guys let me know.
How are we going to upload all these pictures?
Yes.
That will be in a later in
Yes,
service.
yes, because we need some time between now and the technician. So look, for example, you team leaders are already thinking, I can tell. We need all of that feedback
Yeah,
because we
we're
want to
like that, yeah.
really give a spectacular in-service
Good
to our
point.
technicians. So start writing them down on your questions, and so when you return, and it's that
Very
you're going to be
really
writing that
inexpensive.
on this because we designed that for you all. Okay. So please start thinking through. All right. Thank you so much, Amanda. That's fun. Yay! Thank you, Amanda. Want to tell you a little story about this. This last quote right here. It does come out of a magazine with different terms, but they were interviewing some architects in Europe, and one of the comments that the architects were saying that what makes us very well respected worldwide, because this is a European, is that they always make their staff, their team, all of their architects to think and question what is the role of your design, and when they are designing whatever they're designing, and determine how it's going to make a change, except for they use the word the world. And so I want to leave you with this thought. PTs, PTAs, front office staff, all of you in here, question your role as you begin. And it is the first person who answers the phone that will have the beginning of the design. We PTs can only add the beauty of it as a mosaic piece of art. The PTAs are going to add its extension, whether their eyes move laterally to the right or to the left, up or above. It is a beautiful program that we'll do for you, but you truly are the ones that are going to begin the design. And so we thank you. Big clap to our office staff.
Yeah.
Because we really wouldn't be here without you all. We can't. So we want to be able to make a big change in El Paso. Okay, next. So now our guest is going to be talking to us about transportation availability for not only our team, our our staff here, but also, oops, sorry, that's right, thank you. Sylvia's showing me something really important. Sorry, Sylvia. She's showing me a slight revision of the evaluation. It is important because it has to do with the front office staff. So we had said that last meeting, we said that with Monica being absent, we would give this to you. So we have revised it. It has a little blue line on the very top. So if each of you can take a look at it. So it is. Sylvia's the man of white. I can just in the script that Rudy gave you, there is a section where it's page B2. You have to find out who referred to them. Now, doesn't necessarily mean the physician referred, but who recommended the patient. And they may say it was a doctor, but they may also, there's where you need to dig a little. Maybe the physician's office staff. If they happen to say that, Margot wants you to grab a name. Just say, well, who was it? What's his or her? But we do. If it's a friend or family, please put cousin, sister, whoever was said, social media or any other. If it's a cousin, we want the word cousin, because when we PTs go in there, we want to say, hi, my name is Chole, I'll be your physical therapist, your routine, and they said, please thank your cousin for referring. We want to start immediately getting that connection and influence them in an incredible way. So remember this, and that's already effective. It's in your shared file already. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Margot introduce, but I do want you to know that she's also very well a former colleague of Debbie. So, and they're still very good friends from the beginning. Okay.
And she's with Outreach Health Services, and it's a private pay program type of business. So she's got some great things to share with us. She also knows Debbie from her former life at BNA, and I know her as well from BNA and my friend Cynthia. So
I'm very nervous. I thought I was going to talk to like 4 people, so I was shocked when I found out that I was going to be here. Just a real quick, guys, you know, Medicare and Medicaid is changing every day. And so when VNA closed, I actually ran their private duty program. I had to start thinking out of the box. Like, it's no longer where we used to have grandma go get her hair done and maybe we take her to the casino. It's not like that anymore. 99% of my calls at Outreach Healthcare is my mom's on hospice, my mom fell, my mom's in the hospital, the doctor says she needs 24-hour care. So I went to our corporate company in Dallas and I sat down with them and I said, you know, we're going to have to think out of the box or we're not going to survive. There are private duty agencies popping up everywhere. Hospice and home health caught on that for them to keep open, they're going to have another supplement, which is private duty. So let me tell you what private duty does. And there's several different levels of private duty. I have some really good competitors. There's Home Instead, Visiting Angels, Caring Seniors, Comfort Keepers, and all those. But they do mostly meal preparation, medication reminders, bathing, and those type of things. And long-term care insurance covers it. Do you all know how much it costs for 24-hour care for a month in private duty?
A lot.
a lot.
About $12,000 a month. I can't afford $12,000 a month. So if you need to sign up for long-term care, get it, because that's how much it costs. So then I started thinking, how am I going to get people to call us? What's going to make my phone ring? And then things started falling in my lap. So let me tell you everything we do at Outreach. I am part of a human trafficking task force. I don't know if you all know, but there's a lot of human trafficking in El Paso, and nobody talks about it. So they call me and say, Debbie, do you have a CNA? Because we have a young lady who's been beaten, raped, branded, and she has no ID, no Medicaid. She can't, she's on pull-ups because she was beaten so bad, she's incontinent. And I was like, well, how can I help in that situation? So I train my CNAs to give these girls support. We take them to get their Medicaid, we help them get their Social Security, we provide them encouragement, let them know that they're loved. I do newborn babies. I couldn't believe this. I had a doctor call me and say, Debbie, would you consider taking care of my wife and the baby? She's really tired, we have 3 other kids, and I'm like, well, you're gonna pay for it, okay, and it caught on. I actually have 4 or 5 patients where we go, mom has a baby, we go spend the night, the baby's in the room with my CNA, baby wakes up, we take the baby to mom, mom feeds the baby, we take the baby back to get him on a schedule. People want that. See, I'm not here for your clients, I'm really here for you guys, because you know, you have children and you can't miss work. There's a flu epidemic right now. Everybody's calling in sick. So people are like, private duty. Debbie, do you have a CNA? My son's got the flu, I can't miss work. Can you just come over here and watch him for a couple of hours? So we're actually gonna start getting CPR certified for babies and pediatrics for my CNAs, since that's been another calling. My surgical centers call me, Debbie, we have a patient, she needs surgery, she doesn't have anybody, so I pick up the patient, we take him to surgery, we leave, because we're good stewards of the money. We're not gonna charge your client or you or your family member to sit there while they're in surgery. So I charge, we pick them up, drop them off, and the clock stops. My aides leave, go do other things for me, come back when they're out of surgery and take them home. Sometimes we do 24-hour care. I do plastic surgery now. You know us women, we have a lot of secrets. And so, you know, they'll call and say, you know, I'm having a boob lift, a butt lift, you know, I'm getting fillers, and and we help them come up with lies that they hit the door and they got a bruise right there. And so we do a lot of that. We pick them up for surgery, take them, they get their procedure done. The nurse calls me, they're out of surgery. We pick them up and we take them home. Or if they want, we stay 24 hours and then we take them back to their follow-up procedure. You guys in therapy, I just went through this. I have to go to therapy twice a week because I have a pinched nerve in my neck.
Where are you going?
Well, the CNA, Dr. Dickinson, he actually, I called his wife, Renuka, and then she said, well, call him. And so, but I was telling Debbie, I was sitting in Dr., I can't think of her name right now, because they're going to put shots in my neck, and the first thing she said, you can't be alone. You need 24-hour care. I'm like, I don't have anybody. Who am I going to get? Duh, you know. But I'm like, so there I am in her office, and I do a marketing spill. Well, by the way, doctor, if you ever have a patient, and she's like, only you, Debbie, would be in here trying to get service and try to sell me something. But a lot of times, you don't go to therapy because you don't have a ride. You know, you don't have anybody. Your kids are all working, especially the elderly. They don't want to be a burden in anybody. So I want you to think of outreach. We are for-profit, but I really tell everybody we have a nonprofit heart. I want to thank you, those who helped Debbie and the school that we took care of. I don't know, the clinic in here. The principal cried when we showed up with all the things that we donated. I'm also the president of Reach for a Star. Do you guys have any children that want to wish? It's completely free. We give them whatever they want. The only thing I can't do is trips. But even through private duty, you believe it or not, you know, I've had patients whose kids are in pediatrics and they're getting in trouble, they've run out of FMLA, or, you know, their boss is giving them a hard time. I'm like, well, send my CNA to sit there until you guys can get there. So think of any reason why you would need a certified nurse's aide. I do a lot of hospice. That's my #1 referral source. When you have a loved one that's going through a hard time, my pitch is this, and I mean it from the bottom of our heart. You have one job, and that's to be a daughter, a sister, a mom, and you let us be the caregiver. Let us change the diapers. Let us turn them every 2 hours, and let private duty be in there so that you can have that loving time with your loved ones.
I have a question. Yes. So you were telling me earlier that it's 59 cents a mile?
If we use, if the patient has their own card, no extra charge. But if my aide uses her personal card, I have to pay her mileage. So I make no money. I charge the family 59 cents and I pay the aide 59 cents. There's no extra money in there for profit or anything.
But is there a charge when you take the patient to the appointment?
No, it's by the hour.
By the hour, yeah, how much is that?
Now, we charge, I have a really cool sales pitch. Our normal rate is 17 an hour. Ask me how many patients I have on that. 0. Because I don't know how to charge 17 an hour. I'm like, oh, your dad's a veteran, $2 discount. Oh, you were at VA, another $1 discount. So, the lowest rate I can go is 14 an hour. I do have one patient on $9 an hour, and that's a woman that was in a car accident. That's all she gets. We make no money out of it, but it was the right thing to do to make sure that she gets the care she needs. Yes, Debbie.
So if our patients don't have transportation, they can just call you?
Yeah. Well, I have to get consent signed. I mean, we're like any other agency. They have to sign HIPAA. They have to sign all the papers. I put them in the system. If they call us once every 3 months, that's fine. I have 4 aides. I just started this and it's working out really good. They're called special attendants. They work in the office. So when somebody calls in sick, I have someone that can go and serve that client. If it's just transportation, I'll give her 3 or 4 to go do that day. So I try really hard never to say no. And if I don't have anybody, then I'm the next option. I hate to change diapers, you guys. It's the worst thing in the world. But I make my staff suffer if I have to go. So
what we can tell our patients or their family members, because that's a big thing that we have is transportation.
Yeah, and and if you have a family member that will call me and say, you know what, I can't go pick up my mom, Debbie Salisis gave me your number, I'll take their word for it, and we'll get the patient home, and then we'll go that night and we'll get consent signed. I try not to do that because we get in trouble.
So we give them your business card?
Yeah. I do everything off my cell phone. I don't believe in answering services. I'm a micromanager. Because my staff will go, oh, we don't have nobody. And I'm like, so now everything goes through me because I'm the only one that can say no. So it's a good service, you guys.
Sounds really good.
And we get your calling card, right?
Yes, and I brought goodies for you guys too.
Oh,
I just didn't know it was going to be such a big deal. So remember, if you have any loved ones on hospice, this is for, your parents, your patients, and who's the gatekeeper? Who's the receptionist?
We call it every clinic.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, those are my biggest fans because 1, they're just like me. And 2, they're the ones that hear, oh, Mom, I can't go on Wednesday. No, Mom, I don't have any more time off. Or you'll hear them complaining, oh, my mom, she's not eating, and my mom's not doing this. So those are the ones, like in my surgical centers, that's where I get my referrals because they hear when they're trying to schedule, and they'll say, we have an agency, and they'll give them one of my flyers and my business card. I don't have minimum of hours either, okay? My competitors have 4 to 5 hours, which, by the way, they're all great companies, but I don't. If it's 1 hour, it's 1 hour. I don't believe in making someone pay for 4 hours and they don't need it.
Wow. That's
I
good.
feel like a staff so much.
Yeah.